Hello, my name is Schade, and for my first project week, I did knife making. And the reason I chose knife making was I've been researching it and I've been fascinated by it for quite a while. And another reason that I chose it was because a lot of people, like myself before, think that all knives are made through a factory or mostly automated. It's really not true. Most knives have some skilled craftsmen behind them, whether they're over in China or here in the United States. And in this first slide, you can see this is the piece of metal that I chose. It is a piece of metal that we suspect was from a road grader or a car leaf spring, and it was much too thick to create a knife unless I wanted to make a splitting mold. So we heated it up red hot in the forge and began to pound it flat. Once it was flat into a bar stock kind of material that was thin enough to work with, I took a stencil that I designed myself quite a while ago and traced it onto the piece of steel. Here you can see I have ground down to the line on the bottom, and on the top I am currently in that process. And you can tell that this is a carbon steel because of the sparks at the end. Different kinds of carbon in the steel create different sparks, and that's one of the ways I could tell what kind it was. Here I am forming the bevel of the knife with a file, and the bevel of the knife is where the two sides come together like this to form the edge. And you don't want to have a sharp edge. If you have a sharp edge with your knife, before you heat treat it, which is where you make it hard so it'll hold an edge, it'll crack and possibly break, which would be a real shame after all the effort you put into it. And here you can see I'm preparing to drill a hole in the knife to get rivets and pins in to secure the handles on. And as you might have guessed with this photo, I had a lot of fun taking photos of this project because of the creative angles I could get. Here, the knife is in the forge, and if you look at the tip, it's much hotter and glows much hotter than the rest of it. That's because that's where the taper begins and the bevel begins. And if you look back, you can see the holes and all the dents in it, and that's from where the hammer struck it, leaving behind dents and giving it, in my opinion, personality that I decided to leave. This slide is directly in succession with the last one. What you see here is you see two cans, one of them filled with a motor oil and diesel fuel combination. The knife is being quenched into the oil, creating a large flame, and this makes the knife hard so it can hold an edge. And here I am softening the knife, and by doing this, it's hard enough to hold an edge, but it's not so hard that if I drop it, it would crack like it would if I hadn't done this. And it also makes it much easier to work with, like I said, sharpening, because you're going to ruin your sharpening stone or whatever you use if you try to sharpen it when it was hard like that. And here I am putting the secondary bevel on the edge, which is where you have the first bevel, which is a dull edge, and then you have the second bevel, which comes to a much finer edge, and this way you can sharpen your knife without wearing out your stone. And it creates a much easier way to sharpen it, because with a single bevel, it's pretty hard. Here I'm shaping the handle, and this is a piece of wood that Ben Levitt gave me, and he was my smith, or one of them. And this piece of wood is up to 100, or at least 100 years old, and up to 200 years old. This piece of bird's eye maple. And quickly, before my slideshow ends, I wanted to give a special thank you to my smiths, Ben Levitt and Ben Breda.